I wasn't there when it started, but I've sat across from people who were. People who don't talk about it anymore unless you ask very carefully. And even then, they never finish their sentences. Moving in. In the late 1970s, Jack and Janet Smurl moved into a modest two-story duplex in West Pittston, Pennsylvania. It wasn't special. That was the appeal. A working-class neighborhood, kids riding bikes, neighbors who waved but didn't pry. The kind of place where nothing bad is supposed to happen. The house passed inspection. No structural issues, no history worth mentioning. They moved in believing they were starting a normal life. They were wrong. The first month. For the first few weeks, nothing happened. Then the house began making sounds that didn't follow rules. Thumps in the walls that didn't repeat. Scraping noises that stopped when you listened too closely. Cold spots that stayed cold even when the heat was on full blast. Janet noticed the smell first. It came and went without warning. Rotting meat. Not faint, strong enough to make her gag. They tore the place apart looking for a dead animal. They found nothing. The smell returned anyway. The breathing. The first time Jack heard breathing, he thought it was his wife. Slow, heavy, close. Then he realized Janet was asleep beside him. The sound was coming from the ceiling. Inhale, exhale, inhale, like something lying flat above them, listening. When Jack banged on the ceiling, the breathing stopped. Not faded, stopped. As if whatever it was had learned to wait. The children know. Their daughters began changing, nightmares every night, refusing to sleep alone. One of them said there were people in her room who didn't have faces, just dark shapes where faces should be. They didn't touch her, they didn't speak, they stood still and watched. She said they moved only when she closed her eyes. The house reacted. Soon the house stopped being passive. Objects began moving on their own. Books slid off shelves while no one was near them. Chairs scraped across floors in empty rooms. Drawers opened slowly at night, 1 inch at a time. Always slowly, always deliberate. The smell became constant, sweet, sick, heavy in the air, like decay soaked into the walls. Escalation. The walls began vibrating late at night, not rattling, not shaking from outside, pulsing, as if something inside the structure was stretching, flexing, learning the shape of the house. Neighbors felt it too. They asked if the Smurls were renovating. Jack told them no. He didn't tell them the truth. He didn't think anyone would believe him. They tried to leave. They contacted priests, paranormal investigators, psychics. Each one confirmed something was wrong. None of them stayed long. One priest attempted a blessing. He stopped halfway through. Later, he admitted the house felt occupied, not haunted, occupied. Every attempt to leave failed. Cars wouldn't start. Engines died halfway down the street. Phones went dead mid-call, like the house didn't want to be alone. The screaming. That's when the neighbors heard it. Screaming. Not from the Smurls' rooms, from inside the walls. Muffled, panicked, human. Sometimes it sounded like children. Sometimes it didn't sound human at all. Police were called more than once. They never found anything. The worst nights. Janet later described the house as aware, like it knew fear made them weaker. The breathing moved closer. Sometimes it sounded like it was right behind them. Jack felt pressure on the mattress at night, indentations forming beside him, as if something was testing weight, learning. One night, Janet awoke unable to breathe. She said something was sitting on her chest. She couldn't see it, but she felt its weight, its patience. Breaking point. They stopped unpacking, stopped inviting people over, stopped pretending. Sleep deprivation set in, arguments, fear, isolation. The house didn't need to hurt them anymore. It just waited, watching them fall apart. Leaving. When they finally left, it wasn't planned. They grabbed what they could carry, left furniture, clothes, photographs. They left like people escaping a fire. But the house didn't become empty. Lights turned on at night. Shadows moved behind curtains. Neighbors smelled decay long after no one lived there. Final truth. People say hauntings end when families leave. This one didn't, because this wasn't a haunting, it was an occupation, and some houses don't want to be remembered. They want to be fed. They want to be lived in, and once they learn how to keep you, they never forget. Some videos never end. They don't scare you when you first watch them. They stay with you. And the more you replay them, the more you realize you weren't supposed to see them at all. In early 2013, a Canadian college student was staying alone at a downtown hotel. It wasn't luxury, it wasn't dangerous, just a tall, aging building in a busy part of the city, the kind of place thousands of people pass through every year without incident. She had plans the next day. She had spoken to her family. She had posted online. Nothing suggested it would be her last night. Sometime after midnight, the hotel's surveillance system recorded something unusual. Camera elevator 14. The footage is grainy, no sound, fixed angle. The elevator doors open. She steps inside. At first, everything looks normal. She presses multiple buttons quickly, almost all of them, too many, as if she isn't sure which floor she wants. The doors don't close. She presses again. Still nothing. She steps out halfway, then immediately back in. She leans out again, looks down the hallway. Nothing is visible. No one passes. No shadows move. She steps back inside. That's when her behavior changes. She stands completely still, then slowly turns her head toward the camera, not at the control panel, not at the doors, directly at the lens. Her face tightens, then relaxes. She smiles, just for a second. Then the smile disappears. Her lips move. She's talking, but there's no one there. She presses herself into the corner of the elevator. Her body language changes, shoulders raised, arms close to her chest. She peeks out again cautiously, like someone hiding. She gestures with her hands, slowly, as if explaining something to someone standing just outside the door. She nods, then shakes her head, then steps back suddenly, like something moved too close. The doors still refuse to close. The footage loops. The same minutes repeat, over and over. No one enters, no one exits, no other human appears in frame, just her and whatever she's reacting to. The next morning, housekeeping noticed something strange. Her room hadn't been slept in. Her belongings were still there. Her phone, her clothes, her bag. She never checked out. No one saw her leave. There were no signs of a struggle, no alarms, no witnesses. The hotel searched the building. Nothing. Days passed. Guests complained about low water pressure, about dark-colored water. Maintenance checked the rooftop. On the roof were large water tanks, locked, heavy, industrial. One of them was opened. Inside, they found her. How she got there remains unexplained. Access to the roof was restricted. The tank lids were too heavy to close from inside. Security footage showed no one accompanying her, no one following, no one helping. When the elevator footage was released, it spread instantly. Millions of people watched, paused, rewound. analyzed every frame. Some said she was hallucinating, some said she was afraid. Others noticed something worse. Her movements sometimes look responsive, like she's reacting to timing, to pauses, to something that isn't visible but is present. Experts later confirmed something chilling. The elevator footage wasn't recorded right before she disappeared. It was recorded hours earlier, which means she walked away from that elevator afterward. She continued moving through the hotel. She encountered something later, something the cameras didn't capture. The video never shows danger. No attack, no chase, no violence. Just a person slowly realizing they are not alone in a place where they should be, and whatever she saw never appeared on camera. Some people believe the elevator video shows fear, others believe it shows confusion, but there's a third possibility that no one likes to talk about, that she wasn't afraid at all, that she was listening, responding, waiting. Because sometimes the scariest footage isn't what the camera captures, it's what it can't. And once you've seen that video, you never look at an empty elevator the same way again. I used to collect antiques. Not the expensive kind, not the polished, museum-worthy pieces. I liked objects that looked unwanted. Old radios that no longer picked up signals, cracked mirrors, dolls missing eyes, things people didn't want in their homes anymore. Because unwanted things always had stories. I found the statue at a flea market in rural New England, early autumn. Cold morning, fog hanging low. The kind of place where sellers don't ask questions, and you don't either. It was small, about the size of a coffee mug, carved from dark wood that felt unnaturally warm when I touched it. No markings, no signature, no cracks from age. Just a humanoid figure, thin arms wrapped around its torso, head tilted downward, mouth carved slightly open, not screaming, not smiling, waiting. The man selling it refused to touch it. When I asked where it came from, he didn't give me a story, just said, "That thing's been sold 4 times this year, always comes back." I laughed, paid him in cash. That was mistake number 1. Night 1. I placed the statue on my bedroom shelf, facing the door. That night, I woke up to someone whispering my name, not from the room, from inside my head, like a thought that didn't belong to me. I sat up, heart pounding. The room was silent, too silent. Then I felt breath against my ear, not warm, not cold, just present. I didn't turn around. I stayed frozen until morning. Night 2. I found footprints, tiny ones, pressed into the thin layer of dust beneath the shelf, bare feet leading away from the statue and stopping abruptly in the middle of the room. My roommate laughed when I showed him. Until that night. He woke up screaming at 3:17 a.m., said something stood beside his bed, not touching him, just leaning close enough to whisper his name, slowly, like it was learning how to pronounce it. The whispers stopped being whispers. They started forming sentences, short ones, commands. Move it. Turn it. Don't leave it alone. The statue began appearing in places we didn't put it. Kitchen counter, bathroom sink, once on my bed. Always facing us, never fallen over, never damaged. The wood never aged, never cracked, never collected dust. One morning, we found writing behind it. Not symbols, not drawings, letters carved deep into the wall as if done with nails. The words didn't make sense, but the spacing did, like a sentence missing language. That night, my roommate filmed the statue on his phone, joking, nervous. When he reviewed the footage, the statue didn't move, but the reflection behind it did. Something stood where the camera couldn't see. Something thin, bent wrong, smiling where a face shouldn't smile. He deleted the video. I wish he hadn't. We buried it in the woods, deep, wrapped in cloth, covered with stones. We didn't speak on the walk back. That night, I woke up to tapping on my window. 3 knocks, pause, 3 more. Slow, intentional. When I pulled the curtain aside, the statue was on my desk, clean, dry, facing me. I moved out 2 days later, left everything behind. The police found the statue still in the apartment, on the shelf, facing the door. The next tenants reported whispers within a week. The flea market vendor disappeared shortly after. And last month, while scrolling through an online antique listing, I saw it. Same size, same carving, same tilt of the head. Different seller, different state, same description. Unusual wooden figure, no known origin, moves sometimes. And beneath it, 4 previous owners listed. My name wasn't one of them.